All right, Jackson, Mississippi, welcome to episode 6 of SaveJXN on the radio and the SaveJXN podcast right here on WYAB 103.9 in Jackson, Mississippi. Today, we are going to discuss Tate Reeves telling Joe Biden that Mississippi will not be locking down. Amamzon's bringing 1,000 jobs to Madison County. We're going to discuss the comparison between the Hinds County COVID numbers and the Jackson, Mississippi homicides for the year. We're going to discuss Representative Price Wallace suggesting that we should, and I quote, succeed from the union, as well as This Week in Mississippi Music History, a Mississippian wins the Miss USA contest, and of course, we're going to discuss all of the presidential chaos and the liberal candidates and politicians and all that good stuff trying to shut down, lock down, and make us do bad things that we don't want to do, as well as Ticketmaster wanting to make us do bad things that we don't want to do. So, with all that said, let's get started. I'm Clay Edwards. I'm joined by my wife, Crystal Edwards. We're going to start the show off with our weekly Bible verse. Crystal picked out another great one for us. It's Job 5:12. He frustrates the plans of schemers, so the work of their hands will not succeed. Job 5:12. I'm going to tell you what, Crystal, that is, of the 6 that you picked for us, that might be the best and most time-appropriate one. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing great.
How's your week been?
Long. Very long.
So, look, if you don't know, we live over here in South Jackson. Crystal's daughter lives back and forth between us and her dad. She goes to Brandon. And so Crystal has to get up in the mornings and drive her to school. Well, this morning, of course, the news came down that Brandon was moving all things to virtual and canceling all sports and everything until the Monday after Thanksgiving, November 30th. I know Gluckstadt is also doing it, and some other schools have since announced, and by the time you hear this, you will know who all of them are, if they affect you or not. So I'm not going to get into all that. So Crystal actually called this early in the year. She goes, I don't even know why we're going to start going back to regular school, because it won't be long before they pull the plug and it's all virtual again. Crystal, what made you think, what gave you that thought?
It was just a hunch, I guess. I mean, one of the first things they did when COVID hit was shut down the schools, which to me should have been one of the last things they did.
I agree. You know, it's a lot to do with, I don't even think it's so much that kids are actually getting positive tests. I think what happens is a kid gets around somebody who got a positive test. So it's the contact tracing. And if you get contact traced within somebody that was positive, you have to go quarantine for 14 days. Mm-hmm. And I think they've run out of kids to teach and teachers to teach. It is a staff and student shortage more than it is a medical issue. Mm-hmm. Is the best I can tell. I know my buddy Johnny that I work with, he's got a couple of kids at Brandon also, and I mean, he's had to raise seven levels of hell over the last few weeks, them trying to send the kids back home and re-quarantine them and this, that, and the other. And, you know, one or two of them, I know his daughter was COVID positive at one point. Well, once you're COVID positive, I believe you get a 90-day pass on the quarantine. So then I think his son got sent home for like the second time, and he had not tested positive. So I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll have to double check. But for the sake of this conversation, I believe he did. So so he was the first person I went to when you sent me that text. And he was like, you got to be kidding. Mm-hmm. You know, which he had just got it. I mean, so we were just sitting there, and I could tell I walked in on him where he had just found out. He was like, damn it. But anyway, so as life goes, Crystal doesn't have to drive to Brandon again, at least until the 1st of December. Twice a day. So as bad as it sucks, sometimes you just have to find the positives in it and roll with it. Ain't that right?
That's right, for sure.
She's like, I'm going to hate this. All right, look, real quick. Let's talk about our lovely sponsors to make all this possible. We're here at the USA Pawn Studio at the palatial South Jackson SaveJXN estate. We sure do appreciate all those guys do for us to help us out. You can check out USA Pawn online at usapawn.com, and you can also visit the largest pawn shop in the state of Mississippi right there at McDowell Road at the USA Pawn Mega Store. They have 5 more locations in the metro area: Woodrow Wilson, Ellis Avenue, Pearl on Pearson Road, Canton on Peace Street, and Vicksburg on Warrenton Drive. Check them out online at usapawn.com or on any of their social media outlets at USA Pawn. They also have a 10-10-10 layaway special going on right now, where you can put 10% down, pay only 10% per month, and up to 10 months to pay. So again, that's the 10-10-10 layaway plan, especially on jewelry. It does not work on everything in the store, but on jewelry, it definitely works. 10% down, 10% per month, 10 months to pay. Give them a call or check them out online today for more information. And hey, one of the really cool things that USA Pawn is doing that, as far as I know, no other pawn shop in the state is doing, is once you go into the store and you get your loan for whatever you may have pawned, or you put your layaway deposit down, you can from here on out pay that online at usapawn.com. You do not have to go back into the store until it's time to pick your item up. So that is a really cool deal. And in times of COVID, if that affects you or affects your family, or you just don't want to get out and have to deal with wearing face masks or whatever, that is a great deal there. So again, USA Pawn, thank you for all you do to make this show possible. Then again, here, my buddies, the Gym at Byram. The gym at Byram.com, located right there in Byram, Mississippi at 136 Byram Parkway. You can give them a call at 601-372-2229. 24-hour access, Olympic-sized pool, tanning, tennis, indoor basketball, women's training room, personal trainers, amazing world-class weightlifting equipment and cardio equipment. You cannot go wrong. Again, for a virtual tour, go to the gym at Byram.com. All right, you need your yard cut, you need it winterized, you need any stuff like that done, hit up Danny White and the crew at Father and Son Southern Lawncare. You can find them online at fatherandsonlawnservice.org or give Danny a call today at 601-301-3210. That is 601-301-3210, Father and Son Southern Lawn Care. All right, Crystal, so jumping right in. Tate Reeves comes out today, and I guess he's trying to salvage or rally his base. He knows that he's on the ropes. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's got to know that even his diehard, most valiant supporters are at their wits' end with all this. Whether it's Tate's fault or not, he's going to catch the heat. He gets paid the big money. He got the big job. He wasn't everybody's guy, but here we are. So Tate comes out and tells Joe Biden straight up, Mississippi not going to participate in nationwide lockdown. This is on WLBT, and you can find it on many other sources. I'm just going to read you a little clip here. In a press conference on Thursday, Governor Tate Reeves said Mississippi would not participate in a nationwide lockdown if one is mandated by President-elect Joe Biden. He said that while the election results have yet to be determined, the state would not shut down its economy again, even if mandated by the federal government. Quote, "We are not going to participate in a nationwide lockdown." He said, adding that closing the economy for 6 weeks would be totally and completely beyond reasonableness. I don't ever think I've even heard the word reasonableness before, but I concur. He went on to say that he hopes to work with the next president, whoever that is, in other ways to prevent the spread of the virus. So, Crystal brought up a point. It's like, well, what if Trump was for a lockdown? What would Tate say? And I just was like, nope, no ma'am, no, we will not be discussing that. We're not even going to entertain that. Trump wouldn't do that. And I in my heart of hearts, I don't believe Tate will either. I believe enough mistakes and lessons were learned from the last time. And here we are. Clearly it didn't work. All it did was cut down on other things.
Right.
But COVID did not help COVID. I don't think COVID's gotten any worse since then either. More people are getting tested. More people are freaking out. But as you say, we've learned ways to treat it. There's still people who are going to get sick. Mm-hmm. And there's still people who are going to die. But there's people who get sick and die from stuff every day. and I don't want to sound heartless because I don't mean it like that, especially if you've lost somebody. One death is too many, but at some point we can't punish everybody to protect everybody. It's just, you can't do it. The cure can't be worse than the disease. So kudos to Tate. I'm glad he stood up for Mississippi. He needed to. And let me transition right from that to the village idiot here in Jackson. Chokwe Antar Lumumba comes out today and says, Jackson mayor supports lockdowns if residents and business owners are compensated. Now, I'm not going to get into what his idea of compensation is and what he thinks will suffice. I know that $1,200 to last 3 or 4 months or whatever it was last time clearly would not have sufficed me if I hadn't have been a mandatory worker or essential employee or whatever it was they were calling us. I just know it was nice driving to work every day without all you non-essentials on the road.
Yeah, you were an essential.
I was definitely an essential. Say it louder.
You were an essential.
I'm always an essential.
You are an essential.
All right, so look, I'm going to read this real quick. Jackson on WLBT. Chokwe Antar Lumumba said he would support another round of lockdowns only if business and residents were provided financial assistance, the financial assistance needed to survive it. The news comes even as Governor Tate Reeves said the state would not participate in any lockdown mandate by the next president. Lumumba discussed the city's challenges in enforcing COVID-19 rules. With that, he says the inconsistencies on the state and federal level. He pointed to the fact the governor lifted the state's mask mandates shortly before the Mississippi State Fair, only to begin re-implementing mandates county by county as cases went up again. On Thursday, the Mississippi State Department of Health reported 1,271 new cases and 17 deaths. Meanwhile, State Health Officer Dr. Thomas Dobbs said in a tweet, there are no ICU beds available in Jackson and very few elsewhere. Now, I have seen that contradicted online by people who work in local hospitals, but, whatever.
I've heard different things.
Yeah. What have you heard?
Well, I've heard some people saying that they're very short on beds, but they could still make an ICU. I mean, it's not like they have nowhere for anybody to go, but I mean, they are full.
So yeah, like last time, if it comes down to it, you can create an ICU out of the convention center, another floor at the hospital. Right. I mean, there's plenty of options there. What makes an ICU bed? As y'all don't know, Crystal's been in the nursing field for 10 years. So I like to be able to ask her these questions and somebody actually know what I'm talking about without having to Google it. Crystal, what makes an ICU bed different than a traditional hospital room?
Well, normally it's the nursing station's in the center and all your beds surround you, and it's all, see-through. We also have cameras where you can see your patient, which that's not normal in a regular hospital room, that you can see your patient on camera. But it's just acute care. I mean, it's intensive care. I mean,
gotcha. Does a ICU bedroom or ICU room, does each one have a ventilator in it, or can they just take a ventilator into any room? Because you always hear so much about COVID, ICUs, and ventilators. It just made me just assume that there's a ventilator in every ICU room.
I mean, a ventilator can be brought in, but I can tell you, if you're on a ventilator, you're in ICU. You're not going to be on a ventilator and be in a regular hospital room or anywhere else.
Gotcha. That's good. That's good information. So if you're on a ventilator, you're in ICU. They're not going to bring a ventilator down to a regular general room. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So speaking of COVID and ICUs and all of that, we'll transition into my least and favorite part of the show, all in one fell swoop here. Y'all know, if you've been listening to this or following me on social media since all of this COVID stuff started, I have been comparing the Hinds County COVID death numbers to the Jackson homicides. Because it seems like everywhere I go in Jackson, that demographic is very, very concerned about COVID and whether I have on a mask or not. So, but they're the same demographic that makes excuses for all the violence and murder in Jackson, and thinks that stop the violence rallies are going to actually stop the violence. But we'll get violent with you if you don't have on your face mask. So with that said, 184 total deaths from COVID in all of Hinds County. That is Jackson, Byram, Clinton, Raymond, Port Gibson, anywhere in Jackson. Clinton, Hinds County, Raymond, all the way down to Terry. As far west as Bovina or Bolton or whatever. I don't even know where Hinds County stops going west, but it's a big place. Well, 184 total deaths. 104 of those were in non-long-term care facilities, which means there was 80 in long-term care facilities, i.e. Retirement homes, nursing homes, hospice, stuff of that nature. Well, those are people that were probably ill anyway, God bless them. So let's discuss the 104 non-LTC. That's what I like to refer to as just your average Joes walking up and down the street. That could be any of us, any of our family members who are quote-unquote healthy, got the COVID, and were maybe living or working with a comorbidity, that an underlying health condition that eventually led to their death. Well, in Jackson, Mississippi alone, there's been 115 homicides and counting as of November 12th, 2020. In the last 2 weeks, when we've quit recording this thing, another homicide had happened by the time I woke up the next morning. So probably by the time you were hearing this, we could be at 117, 118 or more homicides. I hope not. I hope it stops at 115 and we don't have another one and I can quit doing this segment every week. But we know that that's not going to be the case. So that is 11 more homicides in Jackson this year than COVID deaths in all of Hinds County outside of long-term care facilities. I'm telling you, folks, don't worry about buying a face mask. Buy a bulletproof vest, helmet, gloves, whatever you can get. And do not hope that they shoot you in the leg like Joe Biden thinks police should do, because there are very important arteries in your leg as well. And you can die if you get shot there. What a stupid thing to say. Shoot him in the leg, man. Joe Biden. I hate you people that voted for Joe Biden. There's no way that you really think that he's an upgrade from anything. You cannot sit there and tell me that Joe Biden is an upgrade from Donald Trump or anybody. He may be better. He may be less bad. I don't even know how to say it. Less bad than either one of the Bushes, and they were terrible. I mean, Biden and the Bushes could end up being the worst run of presidents we ever had. And Carter, of course. But, man, if it wasn't for... And I can't believe I'm going to say this in hindsight, because I think if Bill Clinton ran today, he would be a Republican. Because his politics are not liberal. Now, his wife's are a different story, because once you're a billionaire, you become very liberal.
Right.
But initially, in 1992, or I guess it was 94, when he ran. And that would have been 92. Anyway, I digress. If you look back, it's very, very conservative, moderate policies. But man, now, different story. I know I'm getting a little off track here, but damn y'all people for voting for Joe Biden. You don't know what's coming. We're already talking about lockdowns, shutdowns, nationwide mask mandates. Nothing good comes from this. They're rejoining the Paris Climate Committee, all that stuff. That's all stuff to cost Americans jobs, to send our jobs overseas. They say it's going to create green jobs. It is not going to create green jobs. Nobody's going to do that here. You're going to destroy the oil and gas business. You're going to start paying. Now, keep in mind, I'm talking to most of you dumb Jacksonians that I know can't afford or have no interest in driving an electric vehicle. You're going to have to start paying $5, $6, $7, $10 a gallon for gas. Because you think you're going to go get a Tesla? Ain't no Teslas at the buy here, pay here dealership. You know, ain't no Teslas on the used car lot, you know, for $5-10 grand. You ain't paying cash. You ain't trading for a Tesla in a buy-sell trade group. I know what they mean because I live here and I see it every day. But when Rush Limbaugh came out a few years ago and called a bunch of y'all low information voters, you know, it took me a couple of years to really, really understand what he meant. But seeing, especially this election, more so than 2016, all the crying about Trump for 4 years and the just orange man bad, orange man bad, orange man got testosterone, that scares me. It must be racist. Manly man, must be bad man. You know, after all that, and y'all voted for Biden because you just couldn't stand another dude that oozed testosterone. And I really think that's what it is. It's a dude that other guys were like, man, that's a guy, that's a man's man, you know? Kind of says what's on his mind, doesn't sugarcoat anything. You know, for whatever reason, y'all got in your feelings. You know, the Democrats came and picked at y'all, you know, every 4 years like they do, and here we are. But hey, hopefully Trump holds on. We figure out a way to prove it was all fake anyway, and y'all lose. And I'm going to dance in the streets. I'm going to make fun of y'all. I'm going to do all kind of things to humiliate y'all all I can. And if we lose, at least I know that we lost heads up. And once they do the recounts and they shuffle through all the alleged fraud and whatnot. So, Crystal, you have an opinion after I said that stuff about the testosterone and all that you think that could be something that turned off a portion of female voters. Explain to me, or explain to the listeners, what exactly about that would turn off a segment of female voters.
Well, I think especially for younger women, he can be seen as somewhat of a maybe sexist or chauvinistic, and I think it turned a lot of women off, especially younger women. But I do, you know, I see Joe Biden as a pervert, so, you know, it's just pick your poison.
So with that said, when you say pick your poison, you're not necessarily saying that Trump is poison. You're just telling people like, look, you may think Trump's a sexist, but being a sexist and a pig is not nearly as bad as being a pervert.
And I believe he has many more issues than that, such as being immoral. I also believe that he maybe in the beginning stages or maybe even mid stages of dementia or Alzheimer's.
So, in closing on Joe Biden, he may have dementia or Alzheimer's. And look, we feel sorry for anybody that has dementia or Alzheimer's or anything like that. We've both had family members that have dealt with it. But you know what? Neither one of our family members were potentially the president-elect of the United States of America and weren't rolled out there by their family, basically just to prevent their pornographic, drug-addicted son from going to jail. I mean, when you really look at all the Ukraine stuff with Trump and the impeachment and then the Hunter Biden laptop, all this makes so much sense. Joe Biden got rolled out there to protect his interest, not for America. And it's disgusting. And if you voted for Biden, by proxy, you're disgusting. And you support all that stuff. I don't understand how you do it. All you fake Christians out there who sit there and tell me you're a Christian, and meanwhile you vote for the party of Democrats that support child murder and baby murder. And, you know, I'm talking about abortion, so don't play stupid. So we appreciate Crystal joining us this week again. She has got some stuff that she needs to do, so she is going to dip out. Crystal, you want to say bye to everybody?
Bye, everybody.
All right, Crystal, we sure appreciate you, and we will see you next week right here on the SaveJXN podcast. Real quick here before we move on any further, again, I want to thank our sponsors, USA Pawn. Check them out online at usapawn.com or visit one of their 6 metro area locations. Well, you know, you can't make this stuff up. We took a quick little break, and I got a notification. Well, let me backtrack a little. I said, by the time you hear this, there will probably be another homicide or 2 in Jackson. And sadly, I was correct. Just got this notification from WLBT. Man dies of gunshot wound on Magnolia Street. Coroner confirms. This will make homicide number 116. And that will mean we have 12 more homicides in the city of Jackson versus all of the non-COVID LTC deaths versus all of the non-LTC COVID deaths in all of Hinds County. Quick story here. A man has died after being shot on Magnolia Street in Jackson. Coroner Sharon Grisham Stewart confirms. It happened Tuesday evening, and the identity of the victim is not being released at this time. One neighbor who lives directly across the street from the victim said they heard 2 gunshots and looked out their window to see the man drop to the ground. According to this neighbor, the victim was possibly carrying grocery bags. He was standing near his white Mercedes. Then he was shot. A second neighbor said they heard gunshots constantly in the area, or they hear gunshots constantly in the area. You know, I'm proud some neighbors in Jackson finally spoke out and said something, so kudos to them. I hope nothing happens to them. And that, my friends, is the problem in this damn city. And the bold new, what did Chockway call it? Say it was going to be the most in the bold new radical city of Jackson, Mississippi. And that's what led me to start this page and this whole program and this whole SaveJXN stuff and all that, and to finally not just talk about it, but try to be about it. You know, try to make a difference in my community. I don't know what that is. I don't know what all that consists of. I don't know what the hell SaveJXN means when the people of Jackson don't really have any interest in wanting to be saved. They remind me a lot of a 3-6 Mafia song. Was it Project Pat? Like, don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. That's Jackson, Mississippi. Y'all don't want to be saved around here. You just want to keep playing the victim and always having somebody else to blame, as to take the eye off of the ball and to deflect the blame. And I got into a conversation earlier today with a guy about this very same thing. And he's like, Clay, you know, it's just disrespectful for you to talk about it like you do. I was like, no, it's not. It's disrespectful for y'all to keep making excuses about it like you do. You know, 25 years of super liberal control in the city, and not one positive thing has happened. 25 years of blaming it on white flight, urban flight, everything but the actual problem. Crime, lack of fathers in homes, piss poor school system. I mean, these are all things that are self-inflicted. You could make good hires at JPS. You could hire a superintendent that knew what they were doing. You could hire better teachers. I just don't understand. You could hold the teachers you have to a higher accountability. And I always like to say this because I've got friends in JPS. I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. There are obviously some really good people involved, and the high tide can lift all ships, but sometimes that ship hits the damn iceberg and sinks like the Titanic. And that is what has happened in Jackson. We hit an iceberg somewhere and we've been taking on water. And I just don't believe that we're going to unsink this thing. But hell, who knows? Maybe we do. It won't be in my lifetime, but God bless it. I hope we do. But I think we got a better chance of getting hit by an asteroid or that volcano up under the Coliseum, blowing it up and getting rebuilt faster that way. So in closing on that rant, prayers to the family of homicide victim number 116, November 12th, 2020, Jackson, Mississippi. Man, guys, I'm telling you, if you're listening to this right now, just know you are the resistance. You might not even like me. You may be listening to this because you're trying to figure out a way to cancel me or just have some reason to dislike me even more. And hey, if you're listening, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen. We need people like you just as much as we need people who like what we do. And with that said, if you guys have it in your hearts and you appreciate what we do, hit share. Share this in your timelines. Share this on Twitter. Share this on Parler. Share this on Facebook. Share this on Instagram. Wherever you share stuff, share this. It means a lot and would be much appreciated. Speaking of Parler, that's where I'm at now. Of course, I've been there. We are also there, should I say. You can find us on Parler at SaveJXN. Just like every other social media outlet, it is at SaveJXN. So with that said, something funny happened today on Parler. Short and sweet. If you don't know what Parler is and you've been on Facebook lately, especially since the election, you've probably seen a lot of your friends and family members who aren't even political talking about, I'm moving to Parler, here's my Parler name. Parler is a suitable replacement for Twitter and possibly even Instagram if you don't use Instagram like a teenage girl. where if you're a conservative, it is a great freedom of speech platform. I don't necessarily know who all owns it, runs it, any of that stuff. I just know that you don't get deleted and canceled for having a conservative opinion. And of course, the left runs straight with that and says it's where racists can go be racist, even though we all know that the only racists out there are leftists. Which brings me to my story about Parler. This is so good. This is so good. They've been screaming that it's a safe space for white supremacists. And who is strolling around Parler looking for trouble and found some? No other than your Mississippi chapter of the Black Lives Matter. Fake Parler account of Mississippi governor causes online controversy. You can find the story at WLBT.com. A fake Parler account of Governor Tate Reeves has caused an online controversy as screenshots of the fraudulent post circulated online. NBC reports that Parler is a social media platform that is becoming increasingly popular among conservatives as an outlet to voice their concerns. The fake account of Governor Reeves shows that the account was created just a few days ago. Whoever is behind the fake account posted this message that is circulating on social media. Glad to be here. Away from the fake news media, it's time conservative Christians had a place of our own to worship God and President Trump. Welcome, friends. American flag emoji, American flag emoji, American flag emoji. Well, the organization Black Lives Matter Mississippi posted this as a response to the fake account. Quote, "Our governor of the great state of Mississippi is on Parler. Our governor has admitted to worshiping Donald Trump along with his God. Parler is a known app for white supremacists. We will hold him accountable." Well, I'll give you 3 guesses of what happened in their mission to hold Tate Reeves accountable. They found out it was a fake profile. The organization received over 200 shares, with most condemning Governor Reeves for the false statement. 3 on your side reached out to the governor's press secretary, Bailey Martin, and she confirmed the Parler account of Governor Reeves is not real. Martin stated, "Governor Reeves has not joined Parler, but we encourage everyone to follow his authentic accounts on Facebook and Twitter for up-to-date information." And Black Lives Matter kept the post up, but they did hit an edit that said, "Allegedly, this is a fake account. Still waiting to hear from the governor." Man, this is so rich. This is so rich. They sit there and they tell you it is an app for white supremacists. White supremacy. Then what are they doing on it? What are they there for? If it's for white supremacists, what are they there for? What is BLM of Mississippi doing strolling around on Parler looking for stuff? They got catfished. And I think and they fell right for it. Hook, line, sinker, catfished. You know, when you go out looking for trouble, you know, the BLM folks are the ones that are always telling me, be the change you want to see in Jackson. Quit talking bad about it and go be the change you want to see. Hell, I don't want to die being the change I want to see. I want to see it just from far enough away that I can duck and dodge the bullets. You know, y'all out running around up on Parler, you know, trying to cancel folks. I'm going to tell you what, 2021 is going to be, I don't care who the president is. It's the year that groups like BLM and Antifa quit using cancel techniques. That's why I'm trying to create my own media empire here. I want to become cancel proof. That is my goal for 2021. Because if I could ever reach back and smack y'all upside the head and tell y'all what I want to tell you, it would be a whole nother ball game. But I have to sit here and stutter step over my words half the time because I'm scared of, at the end of the day, losing my job and getting canceled. So, and the irony is, nothing that I hold back is anything that I want to say about minorities of any sort. It's about white liberals and their agenda and what they're doing. But they seem to be the ones, the BLM Karens and the Antifa Karens that want to get all the stuff started. Frankly, I just don't know why they don't all move up to Portland, Oregon, smoke a bunch of meth with lifelong junkies, burn stuff down, boycott stuff, protest, burn down Biden signs, black businesses, whatever the hell else it is they do up there in Portland when they get strung out on meth and start beating on cans up and down the street, looking like a bunch of skinny Antifa meth heads. They all look the same. It's like, guess what, Ma? I got an Antifa member for Christmas. Like, oh, which one? Johnny, Dopey, Hippie, Bernie, Burn It All Downy? And like, I don't know, they all look the same. Green hair, pink hair, skinny, black vest, tack pants, and no car. I mean, oh, and then don't forget they all have a man bun. Even the girls have man buns. My goodness. Well, look, I'm going to take that story there, and we're going to roll that into maybe the second most satisfying thing you're going to hear today on this podcast. The best governor in America, and let me just tell you, our next president, if somebody with the last name Trump isn't running, and I don't even care if they do, I'll be honest, if Don Sr. ain't on this ticket, the Trump dynasty is over for a couple years unless they are this guy's VP. Ron DeSantis, the governor of the great state of Florida, has drafted an anti-mob legislation that will allow citizens to shoot looters. Let's click on it and read a little further here. This may be the best thing ever. All right. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has drafted a new anti-mob legislation that will allow armed citizens to shoot suspected looters. The legislation will expand on the state's Stand Your Ground law. Miami Herald reports that the first proposal would expand the list of forcible felonies under Florida's self-defense law to justify the use against people who engage in criminal mischief and that result in the interruption of or impairment of a business and looting, which the draft denies as burglary within 500 feet or disorderly conduct. So what it says is, which the draft defines as burglary within 500 feet of a violent or disorderly assembly. The report continues on to say that legislation will also enhance criminal penalties for those people involved in violent or disorderly assemblies, make it a third-degree felony to block traffic during a protest, offer immunity to drivers who claim to have unintentionally killed or injured protesters who block traffic, and withhold state funds from local governments that cut law enforcement. So long story short, go down to bring that Portland crap down to Florida, and you're going to F around and find out. You've been warned. You're going to F around and find out. Now, everybody in Florida has been deputized to loot or to kill looters and rioters. It's over with. It's over with. The Dukes of Hazzard are on the job. You're not winning. Florida has fallen. If you were on the Democrat side of it, Florida is no longer yours. Y'all can pack up. Maybe you can salvage Georgia, but Florida's staying down with the good old boys. You are not winning that one. That is A1 right there. That is salt being flowed everywhere. I gotta love it. You gotta love that big D energy that DeSantis puts off. He does not play, does not care. All right, transitioning from DeSantis, hopefully our next governor, oh God, I can only hope he was our next governor, but our next president. How about some good news here? Did y'all know that Miss Mississippi this year won the Miss USA pageant? Beautiful lady. She is African American, which I don't even like mentioning that because I don't think that she needs any kind of qualifiers or anything. This lady is gorgeous on any day of the week. Miss Asia Branch. She is also a Trump supporter and a Second Amendment lover. She even sang the national anthem at a Trump rally here in Mississippi a couple years ago. So kudos to her. She went to Ole Miss or goes to Ole Miss, and I never say hotty toddy, but hey, hotty toddy and congratulations, man. We're really glad to have you on the home team, and can't wait to see what you how you parlay that Miss USA. I tell you couldn't find a person on social media to say anything bad about her. There's some rude and inappropriate things, but that's simply because of her beauty and them being piglets. But at the end of the day, nothing bad. And we're very proud to call her a Mississippi family. Also, this week in Mississippi music history, this is some good stuff here, right? Back on November 8th, 1987, one of the rock concerts that absolutely changed the way Jackson looked at rock music ever again came strolling through this city. Motley Crue, the Girls, Girls, Girls tour. It was the peak of their 1980s debauchery. Do you know who the special guest artist was? I'm going to give you one little hint. Do you know where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. You're gonna die. All right, Guns N' Roses. That was my terrible impersonation of Axl Rose. But Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue on the same show on the same night in Jackson, Mississippi in 1987, November 11th, 1987. The day it was actually November 8th, 1987. Could you imagine the chaos of that week? You're getting ready for Thanksgiving. You got Motley and GNR at the peak of their fames, on the same show on the same night, and tickets were only $15 each. Man, I want to say somebody said Rat was also on that show. I wasn't able to confirm that, but either way, what an amazing show that would have been to have been a part of. If you know me, y'all know that's right in my wheelhouse. I didn't make it to a show for another year or so. Saw Poison on the Open Up a Say tour down in the same Coliseum with special guests Brittany Fox and Lita Ford. And my life has not been the same since. I saw Motley Crue thereafter in the Dr. Feelgood tour, but never did get to see them on those early tours. Finally got around to seeing Def Leppard a couple years ago. Missed that concert too. All right, so got the good news out the way, the fun stuff, a little This Week in History stuff. Hey, one more thing here. If you've been following this show, this page, whatnot, we've been doing a fundraiser for Wendy Hamilton. She is married to Detective Cody Hamilton with the Richland PD. He was in a terrible accident chasing a suspect a few weeks ago. Car exploded. They got him out just in time, but his legs are in bad shape. He's not going to lose them, but it was touch and go for a little while. He just got back home today, or maybe it was yesterday. There's a couple fundraisers coming up from him. Look, if you can't make it to them, just go to my fundraiser. I got a GoFundMe set up. The money automatically goes straight to the family. I don't touch or see any of the money. I just see the amount, and it gets my blood flowing and makes me want to share because I want to get more and more and more. But we're already close to 8,500. Our goal was 10,000. We've only been doing it for 2 weeks. So just go to the SaveJXN Facebook page. It'll be the first post at the top. It's a link to the GoFundMe. Really easy. Click it, forget it. Donate $5, $10, $20, $100, whatever you can do would be much appreciated. You can hit anonymous. Nobody's ever got to even know it's you. Or you can put your picture in a comment and tell everybody it's you. It's whatever you want to do, man. We'll appreciate all of it. But look, upcoming events. Saturday, November 1st, out at the Black Axis Throwing Club on the Reservoir, the original one, they're going to donate 20% of all profits to Cody's family that day. I want to say they're talking about going from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. or something like that. I mean, from open to close. That is an amazing deal. So if you go get food, drinks, play the lanes with the axe throwing, the whole 9 yards, 20% of that is going to go to the family. And I'm guessing they probably have an extra tip bucket too that'll go directly to the family. I know we're working on getting a crew together to go to that. Also, January 30th, there's going to be a 5K walk and run and bench press competition at Fitness 1440 in Richland. That is Flint Minshew's place. And I'm telling you, if they're involved, it's top notch. That's another great facility there. Love those guys. Love Flint. Love his whole crew. They tagged me in a post. You can reach them. Just go on to Facebook and search Fitness 1440. Spell out the numbers, like 1440. That's all you got to do. You'll find it. Really easy to find. And they will get you the information you need. All right. So something else that we did. I did a poll today in our Jackson Uncensored Facebook group. And I was just curious. I wanted to take the edge off, and I wanted to feel like I was hitting all three sides of the crowd here with this question. I'm curious how people feel about the presidential election and the debauchery and everything else. So I asked this question. I said, do you believe there was some type of cheating, fraud, or computer errors with the presidential election? The three choices were, yes, they cheat like the Patriots. 2, no, Trump's a sore loser. And 3, something isn't right, but I'm not ready to call it cheating. So I did this screenshot about an hour ago. Yes, they cheated like the Patriots, has 75 votes and leads the way. No, Trump's a sore loser has 23 votes. And something isn't right, but I'm not ready to call it cheating is finishing up the rear with 11 votes. About what I figured. Honestly, I'll be honest. I did think that there would be more Trump's a sore loser vote, but hey, maybe they don't. Maybe people really do see it for like I see it. You know, I'm trying to ride it in the middle a little bit, and, you know, it is my page. I like to have different listeners and stuff. I don't want to run everybody off. But I am interested, but I'll probably fall more in 3. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to call it cheating yet, but it's looking pretty bad. So, I don't know. Join our Facebook group, Jackson Uncensored. Just answer a couple little quick membership questions there. It says, how long have you lived here? Do you live here? And what's your favorite restaurant? Man, look, we're basically letting everybody in. It's more about, do you know? Can you just name a restaurant here? Because we want to keep out-of-towners out. That's really what it boils down to. All right, moving on. Man, I'm having a good time tonight. Really am. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Crystal, for hanging out with us for a minute. She's had a long, hard week. She's already in there snoozing. I went and checked on her a second ago. So I'm going to kind of get loose, get a little nuck in here for a minute, and tell some people what I think about them. All right, we're going to start with this idiot. Idiot number 1 from the Gateway Pundit. Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and that is the Beetlejuice looking fool from Chicago, in case you don't know, tells Chicagoans not together with family members, issue stay-at-home advisory for Thanksgiving. Now look, you know these fools been trying to cancel Thanksgiving for years, but what about the indigenous people? You know, I mean, they don't care. They don't care. Anyway, let's read for a second here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this dummy because I don't like her. It's like, long story short here. Mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, Thursday, issued a stay-at-home advisory effective Monday at 6 a.m. in response to rising COVID numbers. Once again, the far-left tyrant Lori Lightfoot is using COVID to abuse Chicagoans with authoritarian lockdowns and orders. Meanwhile, murder in Chicago have skyrocketed this year under Lightfoot's leadership. Yeah, they don't want you doing anything for Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, meanwhile, she was also out there, no face mask on, around 20,000 people cheering Joe Biden's alleged victory. So some of her stay-at-home rules are stay at home unless for essential reasons, stop having guests over, including family members you do not live with, avoid non-essential travel, cancel travel Thanksgiving plans. Man, this lady's lost her damn mind. Lost her rabbit ass mind. Let's see here. There were some more fools along the way here. Let's see where they have landed. Then, of course, you've got our honorable mayor, Chokwe Antar Lumumba, right here in Jackson, Mississippi, already talking about lockdowns, canceling Thanksgiving, all that. I saw something that may have been in the CDC guidelines the other day. We're talking about no singing at your family Thanksgiving function. Now, look, this will be my 43rd consecutive Thanksgiving family function. And a good chunk of those, I went to more than one in a day. And never once did anybody bust out caroling or singing or anything. I mean, you may have had some of my little cousins over there trying to peep up on a handstand or something. I mean, they didn't have no choice. They didn't know what they were doing. But other than that, nobody has ever sung at the family function. So I'm trying to figure out why is that such an epidemic that the CDC felt the need to put it in their guidelines, do not sing at the family function at Thanksgiving this year. Man, you cannot make this stuff up. Look, let's check this out, man. You want to talk about creepy stuff. Ticketmaster is also tied in with Live Nation. They're the biggest ticket broker and concert promoter in the world. Well, they really crapped the bed yesterday when they came out with these rules. Like, everybody was going to be like, oh yeah, whatever, to get back to concerts. Yeah. Except you forgot most of your concerts happen over flyover states and over the South. And we are not down for any of this stuff. Ticketmaster is making plans for how they will handle the post-coronavirus world once concerts start back up. And their plans so far sound like something from a dystopian horror film. So far, the corporation is floating the idea of using digital tickets that will show whether or not you have had your vaccine, or if they have recently tested, or if you have recently tested negative. To get around HIPAA laws, the concert goers' medical information will be stored with a third-party healthcare provider. We imagine there will be many third-party healthcare providers handling vetting, whether that is getting vaccine, taking a test, or other methods of review and approval, which could be linked via a digital ticket so everyone entering the event is verified. Ticketmaster's goal is to provide enough flexibility and options that venues and fans have multiple paths to return to events, said Ticketmaster President Mark Yavnik, according to a report from Fox 29. Ticketmaster is also developing an app called Smart Event, which will help event organizers plan social distancing at different venues. Man, let me just tell you right there. I'm going to stop it right there. If you know me, you know that I've been in the concert business, one form, fashion, or another, for the last 23, 25 years. First concert I was ever a part of as a promoter was either Warrant or Vanilla Ice. Either Warrant or Vanilla Ice. I had Buffalo Chips on the Reservoir. One was way more successful than the other. That was Vanilla Ice, and maybe we'll just say that was it. No, actually, the first one was Great White. Anyhow, owned nightclubs for 20 years, promoted concerts, I had a blast. Never had to think about any of this stuff, and I'm not mad at the people for trying to think about it. You know, the implementation of it, I think, is going to be extremely flawed. You know, if people want to get checked, great. If they don't. Maybe figure out a way to separate general admission and VIP by people who pay and not pay, by people who are vaccinated or not. Sorry for the yawns. It's midnight. This is going to backfire totally, and this is totally dystopian 1984. I've seen all the concerts I need to see, so I don't care, but it is the younger generation I do worry about that haven't got to see it, and they're going to succumb to it. They're going to be like, oh man, well, I really want to see Post Malone, so let me get this little shot here. Look, dude, I've seen every Poison, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Metallica show that I need to. Would I love to see them again if they come through? Hell yeah. If it requires getting a vaccine and giving Ticketmaster access to my information, hell no. And guys, that is pretty much where we're going to close the show at this week. So look, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Be sure to follow us at SaveJXN, SaveJXN on every social media platform. Parler, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and LinkedIn. We're all over the place. You can reach me at SaveJXN@gmail.com. And of course, follow our sponsors, USA Pawn, The Gym at Byram, Father and Son, Southern Lawncare. We sure do appreciate you guys. We couldn't do what we do without you. And if you are interested in sponsoring SaveJXN on the radio, the SaveJXN podcast, or if you want to get involved with our over 50,000 local social media followers, we can work out an affordable plan for you as well to get you on our social media platforms. Again, you can reach me, Clay Edwards, at SaveJXN@gmail.com, or you can DM me on any of our social media platforms. Really looking forward to hearing from you. Y'all have a blessed day in Jackson, Mississippi. And this podcast is now available immediately as the show ends on YouTube, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, Podbean, and more. Anywhere you listen to your podcast at, you can just search the SaveJXN podcast.